Hail, Internet! It's the Dork Lords here. It's Paul. It's Matt. I don't know what I'm pointing at. Anyway, hi, we're the Dork Lords. And we're here from our respective homes talking about Westworld, Season 3, Episode 2, Winterline. Hi, Paul. How's everything going, sir?
Everything is perfectly adequate. And yourself?
Perfectly adequate. I think that sums it up. That's well said, sir. Winterline, the title for this episode, comes from a World War II term. It was the defensive fortifications that the Nazis and the Italians used to defend Italy, essentially. And so, obviously, in War World, we find ourselves, I believe, in Italy around the time of some kind of a Nazi occupation. And we pick up where we left off at the end credits from last episode. Maeve wakes up. I like the fact when she discovers she can speak, I think it's Italian, when she starts to speak to Hector. Hector comes to the door and she says something. It shows subtitles. And she, you can see on her face, oh, I'm speaking Italian. There was this little moment of I wasn't expecting that. And then Hector turns around and is like, it's okay, it's just me, or whatever. So then they speak English after that. But that little moment I thought was kind of fun.
Glad it wasn't Klingon.
Or am I? I don't know. We've got another world. We were told not originally, somewhere in Season 1, I think, it was said that there were 6 parks. I think after the Episode 2, we are now aware of 5 of the parks. Let's see if I can count these off. We got Westworld, obviously.
We got Safari World.
We're kind of like Raj World or whatever, but yeah, Safari.
Yes.
Raj World. Shogun World. Then we've got this world, War World.
Oh, and Game of Thrones World.
And Westeros World, we'll call it. So anyway, yes, there's perhaps another 6th park out there. Future World, where there's still... No, okay. Anyway, we actually don't see any of...
Deep World.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah, just pick... It's True Detective World. We'll talk about that appearance by our Game of Thrones guys, but I liked it on many levels, but it's a fun Easter egg. But anyway, we'll talk about it. Okay, anyway, so we are in War World. Maeve realizes, oh, look, I'm back with Hector. Hector doesn't remember her. Really, I mean,
she doesn't realize that initially, though.
Right. So she's thinking she's been put online in the real world, but in a different park, and she quickly starts realizing, oh, okay, so Hector's in a loop. He's totally been desensitized.
It's not that quickly. She actually makes it to the point where she thought they were going to fly away.
Okay, I kind of felt like she was getting some hints as they were going along that he wasn't really all there, but maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, well, no, I guess. I
think she was like, okay, I get it.
I guess it was in the car that she was like, oh, you don't even know me.
Right. So she gets that he's not fully Hector. He's not a fully conscious Hector, but she's willing to play this game along. She's like, okay, let's get to the end of this.
Yeah.
Whatever this is. Then, he dies, saving her, and she then does the whole, look, none of this is real. We're kind of echoing back to Season 1 in a lot of ways with that. Sure. And then she puts the gun to her head. I don't think it's suicidal. I think what she's doing is, time to get back into the tech area.
Yeah.
So, boom, she wakes up in what she thinks is the tech area. Starts getting some more clues that something's not right because Felix and Sylvester don't recognize her. She's also...
Yeah, although it's not clear, it's still kind of curious because she reaches out and touches...
Felix, right?
Felix, and then he seems to notice and then doesn't seem to care.
Yeah, right. There's a lot of not caring. I mean, the bit where she and Hector run past the Nazis at one point, they've got everybody, and it's like, boy, that was easy. It's not a giveaway that something's amiss, but it's kind of a little hint that okay, boy, they're being awfully nice. Also, when she kind of takes out a Nazi guard by she's got the cyanide capsule.
Yes.
And she pokes it in his eye, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh no, you can leave now," kind of thing. It's like, does that work? I don't know, but so there's these little hints that okay, that's a little odd. Then yes, Felix grabs her hand, and you would think if he didn't recognize her, he'd be like, "Oh my God, they're waking up," or I don't know. Like he probably would have called for some kind of security or something. He doesn't.
Or just said like, "Oh, something's wrong with her feedback or something.
Yeah.
Maybe something in her brain is weird. We should, she got hit in the brain, so maybe that's messing her up."
She walks down the middle of the area. Sylvester does eventually see her. He's like, "Oh, I should call security." It's when I think it's in this first group. I think she figures it out when Sizemore shows up. She's talking to some guards, and she's like,
Right.
"Oh, you can't control me." Blah 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 blah. She's gonna like drill her nose. She's gonna do a little reboot thing. And
Is that what she's gonna do though?
or is she? What do you think she's doing?
I wonder if she was threatening to destroy herself. Is really what
Oh, okay. All right. So maybe she was suicidal. I don't know.
Yeah,
Anyway, if you out there know what the difference between shooting yourself in say Westworld versus the nose, what's the nose thing? How's that different?
Yeah.
I felt like it might be a reboot, but maybe I'm wrong. In any case,
what's the point of that?
yeah, good point. Good point.
She's still under their control, so
Yeah, it wouldn't help her any. Like, I'm still in the same place.
you just feigned it, like, starting over.
Sizemore shows up and talks down the guards, and kind of says the right things for a while. And she's like, "How did you survive? I saw you die." And he's like, "Oh, I got shot 6 times, but hey, still here. I'm on a cane. Oh, see, the cane's why. Otherwise I'm fine."
Yeah.
It's when he says something along the lines of like, "Hey, I did it all for you," and then he kisses her, and she's like,
Yes.
"Oh, you didn't survive." I like that moment of realization. She's like, "Oh, you're dead."
Right, but
you're not here.
He had to take her to the place where he wanted to get information, though.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they actually went through another loop.
Right.
And then that's when she got away from Hector, because Hector's like, "No, we got to go to the plane." She's like, "No, let's go this way to get out of the park." He's like, "What are you talking about? I got to go to the plane." Okay, fine.
Yeah, fine. Go to the
I'll
plane.
see-
Yeah, your loop
I'll see you
is
later,
too stuck. So right, at this point, she still thinks she's in the actual world. Yeah, the
Right.
park. Sizemore takes her to the forge.
Yes.
And then he starts.
Then he doesn't know what's happened. So he is saying, "What did you do then?" And it's like, "I wasn't even here. I didn't have anything to do with this."
You get the feeling he's asking questions on behalf of someone else.
Yes.
And we find out that's true. It's Serac has created a very elaborate simulation to attempt to find out what I think. Well, there's maybe multiple reasons. One is as a test, perhaps, for Maeve.
At that point, he doesn't. He's still using his master program to plot the lives of everyone on Earth.
Yeah.
And at that time, he thinks that Maeve is some nefarious force, and so he's trying to understand Maeve and what she's done.
And he's I think he's trying to get maybe some more information about the forge itself, and maybe about the Valley Beyond, where all the the synth personalities have jumped into. So he thinks Maeve is the conduit for that. She's not.
No.
She's like, "Yeah, I haven't been here," and she's like, "You're asking some odd questions." That's where it leads to the thing, and then he kisses her, and she's like, "Okay, you're not real." But at that point, I don't think she realizes it's a simulation just yet. I think she's like, "You're a host." Maybe.
No,
she thinks it's a simulation.
Once he starts to say that, he starts to zip.
Oh yeah, he's just
because he starts to. "Oh, I'm real. What are you talking about? What?
So she realizes she is in a simulation within a simulation.
Yes.
In other words, the park is a simulation, but also the tech area is also a simulation.
Yes. And at this point, the makers, the Nolans, hand some money to Rick and Morty.
Yeah, it is a Rick and Morty. I think there was an episode of Next Gen that kind of did this too, I think. Anyway, so I think Star Trek's handled this as well, but the idea is, hey, you break the simulation by taxing the servers.
Yes.
And so she does one thing where she asks them to do the square root of -1, and then she can she hits this bust, and the bust freezes in midair because it's trying to catch up to the processing power. Yep. That was all a little but I liked the fact that she gave the map to all of the Nazis.
Yes.
And then when she goes back in to Warworld, she basically has all the Nazis shoot each other because they're like, hey, I have to shoot the guy with the map. Oh, you have a map? Boom. So that was kind of fun. I liked that resolution. It was pretty cool. But yeah, so she's in a simulation with simulation. She then she's got a tablet. She's been working on accessing the actual tech area, and she does, and it's the simulation of Lee Sizemore's like, hey, that's not our area. And she's like, that's not Delos. Then she attempts to save her. What happened is we learn from Bernard. We'll talk about Bernard separately, but he finds out that he finds the body of Maeve, but not her pearl.
Processing or whatever,
And so her pearl was taken out. Her pearl was taken by Serac, who then put it in his own version of the Forge, and he's been running these simulations. So, any case, she's got this pearl. It's stuck in Serac's area, his lab, and so she takes one of the robots that's guarding the area.
Yes.
Controls it. It grabs the pearl and then starts to try to run away with it. It's like a first-person shooter almost. It's running. It's getting shot at. It's got a little sad moment, and it gets gunned down on the lawn, and her pearl is out beside her. But she did escape the building. That's about all she managed to do. But then she ends up waking up, theoretically in the real world. I mean, we'll say it's the real world, with Serac. So she's actually managed to beat the simulation. Unless it's a simulation within a simulation within a simulation. Remember in that first episode, there was that guy at the party talking to Liam and Dolores. It's like, maybe we're all just a big simulation. I really don't want him to go that route. Please don't do that. I'll just say right now, I think the show is smarter than that. So I'm going to say it's not doing that. So I think she is in the real world. Serac says, hey, welcome. And I need to get your help to defeat Dolores, basically. I thought you were the threat. I built this machine, Rehoboam, that could basically direct a better future, which sounds really ominous, and it still doesn't sound like a great idea, but whatever. In his mind, it's great. Hey, Rehoboam can solve all the problems of the future. But one day it stopped working, and I thought it was because of you, but it's not. It's because of Dolores. So, you need you to kill Dolores for me. Maeve's like, oh, well, funny, you should bring me back here, and now I'm going to kill you. And she takes a knife, and she tries to stab him. Now, he's got a... Did he switch it on? Or did she just... was she automatically not able to kill him? I couldn't...
I can't see a reason for him to hold that up if he didn't switch it on.
Because he played it close. If he fumbles with that at all, he's dead already. I was like, oh crap! Well, I was pushing the wrong side. But he pushes it in time. And so for the first time in a long time, Maeve doesn't have power over her environment. I mean, this whole episode she didn't, but she didn't have power over her environment because it was a simulation. When she's now back in the real world.
Once she realized how it worked, then she could get power.
But this is
I like the whole thing about her basically saying, she was listening to what Sizemore was saying, and she realized that she could find a hole in the programming because humans don't.
They're lazy.
They're lazy, so they're lazy, and so you use the code here or whatever. Okay, so that's how she got away. And I was really interested in the conversation they were having because one thing that the guy was saying was that the war's already lost.
Yeah, he said, you don't even know we're having the war. She's like, this is pretty idyllic for a war. He's like, yeah, well, the war's going on, and we've lost.
Yes. So he's concerned about the future, and so that, that's the question then, that to see exactly what he's talking about then. I mean, perhaps he's thinking about a future with synth bodies with real people in it. So there's nobody who's generated artificially. There's only the people who, or only people who generated artificially, right? Not anybody who had consciousness come out of their programming.
I got you.
What he's thinking, I don't know. But I think that's the question there. The question that I was interested in the second season, where it's like, okay, what does it mean that people are trying to have their bodies put into these machines and it's not working? So
I did notice when he first talked about the threat that Dolores was posing, he said to our kind. And so I was thinking to myself, like, oh, is he a host? But I don't think so, because then he mentioned humanity quickly thereafter. So yeah, no.
This kind of a human is clear.
Yeah,
that's
yep,
clearly
yep.
what he's talking about.
Just for a second, I was like, oh, is that the direction? But no.
Or rich people.
Or rich people. That's right. Rich people are in trouble. Please save the rich people.
Would you like some cake?
Let them eat cake. So one thing I did like is about Maeve's journey in this episode was she was smart.
Yeah.
It didn't waste a lot of time with her going like, what do I do now? Like she kind of figured it out. It was a problem that she figured out and got out. At this point, we know she's good.
Where they could show, that's one of the great things about Maeve is you can always get a lot of great scenes out of her being smart. Because like, oh, I thought I accounted for your being frozen. Like, no, I'm just scared shitless. I'm nearly being killed. Sometimes the Tom, darling.
Yes. So I like that they made her efficient. They made her a good protagonist in that way.
The same old Maeve that we've come to love.
So this was a bit of a bottle episode, which given that they've only got 8 episodes. They took a long time with this elaborate ruse for her, but
that's not the only thing that happened in the episode.
It's true. And we'll see how the 8 episodes go. And obviously, in the context of that, they may have plenty of time to tell their story. Just on its own, it is a good episode.
Spend their time, basically. I mean, even though I guess most of it was Maeve and Sizemore. And Sizemore's not really around anymore.
Right.
But
it's an illusion.
And I suspect though that all the time with her nemesis is not going to be that much.
Serac?
Serac.
Yeah.
It's not going to be that much. I mean, we'll see. But if he gets his own episode, that's, I think, the time to become concerned.
Oh, okay. Because they might. They could be like, backstory.
Whatever's happening to her is important.
Yeah.
So if you spend, an episode having her, not just, whoops, and I made my way out of it. If you have an episode where she needs to do what she needs to do to get out, at least that seems like there's stakes there.
Because you could have... I mean, I enjoyed the ride in this. I enjoyed watching her figure out and get out of the simulation. It was quality TV. But you could have, if you had decided, you know what, we've only got 8 episodes, you could have just basically had her being brought online and Serac's like, I need you for a job. Okay, because we know that Maeve's already really powerful, so we don't have to it doesn't have to prove to us that she's a powerful. But,
I think they do need it.
All right. So... They did.
Your point though is we haven't seen the end of the season yet,
yeah.
So hopefully we won't feel like maybe they should have.
Yeah, they had to rush somewhere or something.
But
so okay, well the other part of this episode we did not see Dolores, the mainland. We saw Arnold, Bernard, and Tubbs. It's Crockett and Tubbs. No, it's kind of like Crockett and Tubbs. No, it's Stubbs. They're wearing neon and no socks. Those little boat shoes. Anyway, no, that show is actually awesome. I don't know why they don't have Stubbs and Bernard, Miami in that world, like Miami World. Anyway, okay, no. All right, so Bernard goes back. He goes back through the old church. He goes to all the old areas that he used to be. The one where he He killed one of the underlings there on Ford's behalf, I remember.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of the first time we saw him like, yes, master, kind of thing.
Yes.
He goes back there. That's where his other bodies are or whatever. He finds Stubbs. Stubbs tried to kill himself by shooting the C4 in his back of his neck. Failed.
Missed. Yes.
And so when Bernard brings him back online, he asks him like, "Oh, well, why would you try to kill yourself?" And so we learn that Stubbs, well, also Stubbs is a host. We kind of knew that. They strongly implied that at the end of last season.
Yeah, you had a stronger sense of that than I did. I think I was like, huh? Oh.
No. But yes, he's a host. So
yes, he's a host.
He hasn't been like fully realized.
It's interesting that he constructed him in a way. I mean, I guess we shouldn't automatically assume that everyone's on a path to enlightenment.
Correct. That's what I was saying. Yeah, he's not in the maze.
Yes.
He has a core directive. That core directive was protect the hosts. And once the host left the island, he's like, "Oh, I guess my job is done." Blah.
Right. And he says that he didn't have some. He knew that he was a host all along.
He's very self-aware about that.
Very self-aware about being a host, and that in fact he doesn't need all this backstory. I mean, he's like a guard basically.
I love the conversation he has with Bernard at the end.
Which, like, you could have just asked.
The ending with that, but before that, there's the bit where he's like, "All right, well, I'll get you over to the boats, and then I'll go ahead and retire myself." And he pulls the gun out, like in other words, "Yep, I'm ready to kill myself. So let's just get this over with." And so Bernard, adjusts his settings, and now protect Bernard at all costs. And then, that great line where he's like, "Oh, you could have just asked," and you're like,
"Yes,
could he? Could okay." Also, by the way, at all costs. Bye, Stubbs. Anyway, I feel like that line means a lot when it comes to a robot fulfilling its function. It means I will die to save Bernard.
Yes. I mean, it's interesting that here with Stubbs and in another show we're watching, The Mandalorian, where you have robots that are perfectly willing to kill themselves.
Oh, that's right. The self-destruct sequence. Self-destruct. Yes. Like, no. Yeah.
Yes. I can't remember what Asimov said about that, but.
Right. So that's a great conversation. Their relationship is interesting. I like Tubbs and Crockett. I like Stubbs and Bernard. I hope they seem to. He's going to be his bodyguard.
He'll well, I guess you might be right in that's all that's going to happen with that character. They might not want to spend any more time in suggesting that because
that he achieves some kind of enlightenment as well. In other words,
yeah.
We do see. So I mean, we'll
and really, it's like actually, I want to. It's funny because you could argue that one of the reasons why Dolores achieved enlightenment is because they first tried to combine her consciousness with. Well, no, I shouldn't say first. No, he was talking to her and felt that she was starting to get something. But then, in order to get her to kill him, he puts in another personality into her, right? So that causes a lot of chaos in her. And so then all the abuse that she suffered or whatever, and having her remember it, you could argue was a process of having her come to her consciousness. And, Maeve, of course, was abused and separated from a connection that she had. And I think they also were establishing that that Native American character, too, was experiencing some sort of,
And I should mention, with Maeve, just to bring that back around, too, she's still on that cornerstone, which is about, protecting her daughter. Yeah, right. They're using. I mean, Serac was kind of using that as like bait too, to be like, hey, look, if you do what I ask, I think I'll let you basically go to the Valley Beyond. I think it's kind of her, at the moment anyway, is something that she wants. I think is to join her daughter in the Valley Beyond. So he's like, oh, I can probably get you there. It's off limits at the moment, but we can work that out if you help me out.
It's really hard not to see though how she doesn't have a stake in helping out Dolores though. I mean, she hasn't really. proposed what her strategy would be if it doesn't follow some other type of society for
She being
genetics.
Maeve, you're saying?
Yes.
In other words, if Maeve beats Dolores, is that a good thing? Is that what you're...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I
In
know.
Maeve's view. You know,
Right.
You know. It's like, okay, well, thanks for killing Dolores. Here, we'll put you in this computer with your daughter. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
until you decide to set us off. You know?
Right. Pew. You'll never know. Although she would, she definitely realized she was in a simulation, I guess. Like,
And,
no,
you know,
daughter,
you'd
wake up!
think
This
that
is a
she
simulation.
wouldn't just want that, right? I mean, because she wanted to escape. You'd think she wanted to take her daughter with her.
Yeah, she probably doesn't want simulation daughter.
Yeah.
She wants to have her daughter in a free will ish society. I mean, it seems like the world they've created is not really one of free will, but theoretically, if she was out in the real world with her daughter, able to make choices, that's what she wants.
And think about this too. You know, it's like I don't think they've established at all, but I don't feel like we have a reason to suspect that. I mean, would it be an eternity as her daughter?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, good point.
Like,
Does her daughter get to age at
right,
all?
exactly. So maybe at some
kinda-
point she would get her a new body or something like that. So anyway, yeah, we don't know at all
Yeah.
what she wants.
Correct. Good point. Right now, it's just enemy of my enemy.
Yes.
Okay, go. So Bernard has come back to the park to get help to defeat Dolores. He says, too, at one point, like, I think she must have brought me back as a check in case she got out of hand. That's his version of why he got brought back.
Yes.
Whether that's true or not, we'll find out. But,
Yes.
okay, yeah, okay. I like, too,
And
that
it's interesting too that the way that he had to, you know, he was like, okay, you know, this she might have put something in there that kept me from seeing it. So, because of course he, you know, all those situations were a different version of that doesn't look like anything to me.
Yep, exactly. That's why he keeps having to test himself in these diagnostic modes just to see if he's been corrupted. So he feels the need to do that again. His tablet's broken. He has to go back into the tech area. This is where we see this great Easter egg. So it's three giant franchises all colliding in one kind of beautiful moment, actually. So they, as Stubbs and Bernard are walking through the tech area, they say something like, "Oh, you know, these techs, they're just waiting to get fired or something, or get laid off or something like that." And as they keep walking, we see the two showrunners from Game of Thrones playing techs.
Yes.
And they're sitting in a room with Drogon.
Right.
And they're like, well, there's a new startup near Costa Rica that's going to be a buyer. But how do we get him there? Well, in pieces. And you see they take like a chainsaw. Like they're going to chop up Drogon and send him in pieces to Costa Rica. So what makes that really cool is Michael Crichton, obviously, he wrote Westworld. He also wrote Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park is this island off of Costa Rica. They're probably talking about InGen, which is the group that made Jurassic Park. So it's a Jurassic Park, Game of Thrones, Westworld crossover moment, which is just beautiful. It's like, mwah! I don't know. It's really, really, really fun. And so, we see Medieval World, which is this, the fifth of our parks so far that we know. And there's even somebody playing the Westworld theme on a lute.
Yes.
Now, it's not, it's not like it's Jon Snow, but they do have Drogon. So there is a suggestion that perhaps Game of Thrones was taking place in a park in Westworld. Anyway, it's just fun. It's a fun little crossover moment. I think they were just doing it to have fun. Now, obviously, the showrunners for Game of Thrones, their reputation isn't quite as strong now as maybe it was when this thing was probably filmed. People are kind of angry about the end of Game of Thrones, but I don't know. I still enjoyed it. I had a good time with it, and I liked this crossover moment. I thought it was really well done. So Bernard then hooks back to text his past. He sees these various moments that Dolores, interacted with him. He sees Charlotte, and kind of starts remembering that she might be important. And while he's doing that, Stubbs is trying to buy him time by taking on the guards. I liked the fact that he doesn't kill them. I don't think he does anyway. I like the one in particular. He's got a gun. He's like, just run.
Right.
And lets the guy run away. And then so...
Well, yeah, I wonder if there was a point when he was sort of standing down if he couldn't kill him.
Oh, in other words, he had a block?
Or something.
Maybe, although we've seen those hosts killing those guards before. But anyway, good point. Maybe he in particular, since he's security. Yeah. But I thought that's also why he grabbed the axe instead of the gun, because he knew he's going to have to do more combat. And he's like, well, if I shoot the gun at him, I'm probably going to kill him. So this way I can like take him out without, killing him. I don't know. So he does that. He buys him time. He's like, we got to get out of here. And that's where Bernard realizes, okay, Dolores, when she went to that library and she looked up the books on these elites, one of the guys she was really keying on was this guy, Liam Dempsey Jr. That's the guy we're going to have to go figure out. So Bernard and Stubbs are headed back to the mainland and to go. They're on a collision course because we know Dolores is already hanging out with Liam, and she's going to come back and talk to him because she's now made a doppelganger of his bodyguard.
She isn't. I mean, she could have the bodyguard do everything that she needs to do.
Well, true. I'm just saying she's involved with that guy. It's not like she's like, oh, we can't go back.
Right.
Right. It might just be the bodyguard. You're right. But I have a feeling that she's gonna come back into the picture too with Liam. Maybe not. Oh, you're right. Maybe not. Maybe Liam's been warned off so much that I just feel like the bodyguard double will come back and go, I was wrong.
I mean, we don't. We don't know. I guess what level of host he is. I guess.
Right. We do know that in the next episode, we are going to go back and see Dolores. We're going to pick up where she is still recovering from being shot.
Right.
She's in an ambulance.
And we'll also get a sense of who may be in...
in the bodyguards. Or in Charlotte?
No. Charlotte, yeah.
In Charlotte, okay. I have a feeling they're going to hide the ball on that for a little longer, but maybe not. Maybe not.
But in the scenes, they were like, who is it? So
yeah, okay. Maybe you're right. Maybe that would be like an end of episode thing where it's like, Angela, whatever, I don't know. Right. Crockett and Tubbs. Both. It's both. Okay, that's kind of the state of affairs. Any other thoughts you've got, sir?
No.
All right, very good. So, come on back. We'll be talking about episode 3 of Westworld and the exciting conclusion of Picard coming up next. And we have some requests, Paul, actually. We'll have to sort through these. Now, I know you have been wanting to do devs.
Yes.
So we will probably be doing devs. But people have also called out wanting to do Amazing Stories and Castlevania. Anyway, so I'm just throwing out what people are asking for.
Okay.
So there you go. Anyway, so
acknowledged.
Acknowledged.
That was asked for.
Very good. Okay, good. So anyway, come on back. We'll be talking more fun, dorky stuff. Hope everybody is safe and happy, and we will talk to you guys soon. Bye now.